All right, so today we're going to be talking about 7th grade, Chapter 7, Lesson 3. This is all about triangles and how to classify them. So, when we look at classifying triangles, we can either classify them by angles or sides. An acute triangle. This is a triangle where all angles are acute. So it could look something like this. A right triangle has one right angle. And that would look something like this. And an obtuse triangle would be one obtuse angle. And that one would look something like that. Right here, this is the obtuse angle, making it this is an obtuse triangle. All three of these angles are acute, making it an acute triangle. Now, when we look at sides, a scalene triangle would be all sides are different lengths. Which means you could have something like this. Where all three of these sides are different length. An isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same length. And generally when we see that, we would see a triangle that looks something like this, with two little dash marks between it to show that those two are equal. And an equilateral triangle is all sides are the same length. And that would look something like this, where all three sides have dash marks. This shows that they are equal to each other. They are the same length. That's what those dashes mean. So, example 1, it says, draw a triangle with 3 acute angles and 2 congruent sides, then classify. So, that one is actually going to look a lot like this. So, we're going to have a triangle that could look something like that. And we would show that these two are equal to each other by showing lines like that. It then says to classify. We want to classify using angles and sides. So first of all, it says 3 acute angles. That means that this is an acute triangle. So we would say an acute triangle. But it also says it has 2 congruent sides, or 2 sides that are the same. That kind of triangle is an isosceles triangle. So we would say that this is an acute isosceles triangle. Make sure that you do it with angles and sides when you classify your triangles. That is how you properly classify triangles. Alright, let's look on the back side here. Example 2, it says classify the marked triangle. That's this one right here. First of all, we're going to do it by angles and then by sides. You probably noticed that there is a right angle here. That's denoted by this box, this little edge here. So that means it's a right triangle. The sides, none of them have those little dash marks that show that they are the same size, which means that they're all different sizes, which means that it's a scalene triangle. So this is a right scalene triangle. Now, the cool thing is, based on the inquiry lab that we did last week, we can know that when we add up all 3 angles of a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So if I utilize this image here where I have x, y, and z angles, I would say that x degrees plus y degrees plus z degrees, if I add them all up, I get 180 degrees. So let's use that information to help us find the measure of angle A in example 3. So I'm going to put A here. Even though A is already right here, I'm going to put it here as well to show that this is angle A. So, add up all three angles of a triangle. So I'd have A plus B is 50 degrees, plus C is 80 degrees, and that equals 180 degrees. I want to combine like terms here. So I want to combine this 50 and 80 degrees. So I have A plus 130 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. This here is a one-step equation now. I'm going to subtract 130 degrees from both sides. This creates a zero pair. So all that remains is A. 180 minus 130 is 50 degrees. Now, the way that I show this answer, instead of just saying A is 50 degrees, I would say the measure, which is what that M means, of angle, which is what this symbol means, A, is 50 degrees. So again, this here means measure. This here means angle. And the A shows which angle we're talking about. Alright, this is the end of lesson 3. If you have any questions, please let me know.